Hey guys, it's Big J here from the Centre Bounce. Sorry I haven't put up a team upload video in a while. I didn't really have a side that I was very happy with picking. You know, just these players didn't fit. Maybe there was too many rookies on the field. You know how it goes. I've made a team. It's a bit dirty. I'm excited to show you. High risk, high reward. That's the name of today. Guys, as I said in the intro, I have not been happy with making a team in a very, very long time. I think kind of just, hey, look, this guy's going to do well. This guy's not going to do well. All those like feelings you've got in your head of just, you know, just considering yourself or questioning yourself that way. I've made a team. It's high risk, high reward. But before we get started, I just wanted to say thanks for all the support that you guys have done. And if you can subscribe, I'd love you to. 65% of you guys are still unsubscribed, and it hurts my heart. We're trying to grow to that magic 2K number, double the amount of subs in the preseason. We've been smashing out the content. Hope you enjoy this one. Now, I'm going to start in the backline as everyone else, and I'm kind of going to give a little bit of my thinking. I've had a look at the team. There's only one buy round where I've got four, I guess you'd consider premiums out of that team. Premium scorers out of that team, but you'll see I've got a couple of guys on the bench that might just be able to come in and straight away be able to cover people. So it's not as devastating as what you guys think. Let's have a look. Alrighty. Now, we've got our team. Starting off in the back line, Big Nick Dacos. I think it's a must-have to be able to pick this guy this year. Yes, he's got an early buy. Yes, there might be some early tags, but the whole preseason, he's just going like nothing. He's just like, cool, yep, just playing the game, whatever. Being basically rested the entire time as well. And I just think this kid's going to go massive. If you don't have him, be careful because it's going to take you a long time to be able to bring him in. You're going to have to spend 3 trades, potentially a boost. Watch for round 0 to see how much he scores. If he comes out and scores a 120 plus, you have to get him in. Otherwise, you're in real trouble. Next one who I've got here is Harry Sheezel. Now, there is a bit of talk with another North Melbourne player who I've got in my forward line, Zach Fisher, but both of them are going to play a lot of halfback. And yes, that's the case. We won't have games like last week where the Saints kicked 18 behinds. That's not going to happen. But what that also means is that Harry Sheezel is going to be able to play in other positions. He's going to be able to cover some ball through the middle, and they love the ball in his hands. Expect a 110 plus average from him every week, or at least for the whole season. His ceiling is massive as well, guys. Don't forget. And when we start winning games, he's going to be even more influential. Bullet passes to guys in the forward line. Bullet passes to the midfielders who run straight through. It's going to be fantastic to watch. Get him in your team if you can. The next one who I've got on the list. Now, I wanted Tom Stewart. When I originally made the team, I wanted Tom Stewart. I couldn't afford him. Sad face, I know. So he's definitely an early upgrade target for me. He's going to play at Geelong, and they're just going to score massive. It's going to hurt not owning Tom Stewart, but the things we do for our Supercoach teams, right? I've got a couple of weeks, 10 days or so left before I can actually start making our team and playing round 1. So maybe he makes his way into our side. I'm just not sure yet. I've got Hayden Young as number 3. So we know what he does in the preseason. The first preseason game against West Coast, I wasn't that impressed, to be honest. But the second preseason game, we saw him in his rotations through the middle. We saw kind of what he was doing, and he pushed forward and kicked a couple of goals too. I'm pretty sure he was best on ground for them. And that's what we want from this guy. I want 110 plus average every week. This is the reason why we're picking him, why he's locked into our sides. He's currently rated or priced at something like a 95, and that's not good enough for us. We need a lot more scoring. If I wanted someone who was picking 95 or scoring 95, I'd put someone else in my team, not Hayden Young. We need 100 plus every week. I think he has the potential to do it. Good buy round 2, so he'll cover you through the early buys. Next one up, I've got on my list someone who I haven't been too happy with this preseason, but I've decided to put him in, trust the system, waiting for round 1 to really see what he does. And that is, I know you guys are going to love it, Kadeem Coleman is in my team, guys. I know you guys on chat and all you guys on stream are just like, Big J, Kadeem Coleman, what are you doing? I've joined the dark side, guys. I picked a Brisbane player in my team. He's the only guy missing in round 2, so I can have this one. Let me know down in the comments, have you guys put him in your team? Are you considering him? His numbers over the preseason games have been decent, and it looked like they just want to give him the ball. be it running up and down the field, be it kickouts as well. Maybe things will change with, maybe things will change with a few other players coming in, but we'll see. McKenna's really going to affect him, I think. That's why we've got round 0 to see what it's like. Next player I've got on my list is Big Massimo. So we've seen what he can do at Essendon. We've seen, hey, he's had some scores in the 70s and 80s in the past. He's gone to Hawthorn. It looks like it's going to happen again. He's basically playing halfback wing. Yes, things might get a little bit affected with Weddle coming back, and it's something to monitor. If the pick doesn't work, I'm more than happy to downgrade to Zach Williams and bank some money. Hopefully, Zach Williams ends up playing. If not, I'll just downgrade him to whatever rookie's kind of on the bubble ready to go that I have missed in the back line. More than happy to take the L and say, cool, didn't work. But I've got some faith that the pick's going to work. He might end up like the Liam Stocker from last year, playing halfback for us, coming in. If you can get to 400K, easy. Him plus another rookie equals a premium. That's what we want. The last player on our field is, if I can spell him right, Josh Gibcus. Now, I'm not expecting huge scorings from Josh Gibcus, but it looks like he's cemented in that Richmond team. He's going to play a bit of halfback, did some intercepting on the weekend, does play round 0, so we can see how he goes. I think he'll be all right for us. Similar to intercepting key back is, if I can spell his name right again, Zach Reid. Now, I've spoken to Joe a lot. He really seems like Zach Reid's going to come in. I think he scored an 80 this week as well in the preseason game. I'm more than happy to run this guy on my bench. Don't need him for a long time. There's going to be a few guys from the midfield who potentially can come in and take that spot of halfback or take that spot in our defense. So it's not the end of the world, but as a cash cow, I'm more than happy to put him in. One of the few defenders this preseason who I've had the whole season, and I'm more than happy to run. Someone who I haven't had all season because he hasn't been available all season is Ethan Phillips. I actually have 3 Hawthorn players in my team this year. It's an interesting one, but Ethan Phillips has come in. James Blank got injured before even the game finished. They were on the phone to Phillips, get in the team. He's played VFL with them. He's trained with them in the preseason. He looks ready to go. If you get a 50-plus average out of him, he's made his 250K or made his 150K at least for you. Very, very happy. So that's why I love the selection. Next player we're going to look at is in our midfield. Now, I've said him all season, Marcus. Get in my team, Big Marcus. You have to pick him. He looks fantastic. Basically a captain option or a vice captain option alongside Nick Dacos every week. So chuck him in there. You're not going to be disappointed. Now, I'm going to be a bit sneaky, and I'm going to go and fill the other positions now. So you guys get to watch and see what my midfield's like by the end of the video. Ruck line, obviously, I've prophesized it the whole time, is Gawn and Grundy. Now, we did talk a little bit today on the live stream about maybe Grundy not being there if Peter Laddam starts to take a bit more ruck time, and I think he will. But preseason game, he came in, scored, 65 or 70 off 60% game time. You're going to be getting 110 plus from him every week. He just looked like he didn't really care, was just going through the motions as well. So more about keeping fit and getting some game time into his body versus actually, what we want to see. Grundy definitely is playing round 0, so we'll be able to get a bit of notice out of him as well, what we're looking for. I have Naismith coming in the back. R3, we know what's going to happen. He should play. It is what it is. Hopefully he can make some money. He plays round 0. We'll get to see, hopefully, not saying hopefully Nank's out for a while, but in Supercoach terms, hopefully Nank's out for a while. And we'll be able to see him, Naismith, come in and actually start to dominate. I reckon Richmond's smart enough. Adam Uze is smart enough that they'll play Nank and alongside Naismith. Maybe Nankervis does a little bit of forward line. They can middle things around. Maybe Naismith comes off the bench. It works out quite nice for him, I think. He's a really good player. And sometimes you don't bring in these players to just relish in the VFL. Now, the forward line is a bit of a tricky one. I've gone cheap in the forward line, like a lot of you have, just because there's so much cash gen available there. I almost want to do one rotation of all my cash gen to finish off my team, or at least get a lot of premiums in there. The best scoring you can do is the best scoring you want. That makes no sense. You know what I mean. We get lots of scoring across the board, pushes us up against the pack. It's what we want to see. So first off, I have now Big Zach Fisher. So similar to Sheasel, both are playing off halfback. You watched the game versus St Kilda, and I'm really glad that we saw it. At least saw him play a full game setting. He looked phenomenal off that halfback. He just was taking kickouts, just bolting the ball up and down, up and down, up and down, and that's what we want to see. He doesn't have to get the kick out, but he was at least the second option, similar to the Brad Hills that we always used to have, or the Jarman Impies, if you remember him from a few years ago. Kind of took kickouts, or because of his speed, was running out the back. If he can stay fit, at least for the first part of the season, hey, we're onto a winner. Next one up, I have a player who I don't mind too much, but I'm not super happy with, and that's Nat Fife. I know Joe and I have talked a lot about Nat Fife and his scoring avenues. The guy basically doesn't kick the ball anymore. I don't know what's happened with himself, but handballs does well. He's still in the guts. If they're going to play majority mid, we'll take it. Offload him at 400K if we can. 85 average, I don't think is too hard to ask from Fife, and that's all we really need. Him plus a rookie is a premium. Hopefully, the plan is to offload him around round 7 if we can, after all the buys. See you later, Fife. You've made us your 150K. In comes a DPP midfielder who has had a bit of a bad time. Next up on our list is a Sydney player who hopefully you guys have in your team, and that is Big James Jordan. Now, with Adams going down, with Parker going down, it really looks like James Jordan has cemented a spot in the team, and that's all we need him to do. He's going to come in. He's going to play wing, inside mid. I don't think he's going to be a premium, but he scored a 111 on the weekend like it was nothing. So that's all we need him to do. Come in. He's going to have his big games and his slow games. Offload him at 400K plus. It's only 150K probably from what he is now. It's not that hard to do. It's an 85 average. He can average 85 in this Sydney team. That's going to put him in the guts for a majority of weeks, or at least use him in transition. He was using it at Melbourne. He was averaging similar scores. I'm happy with that. Similar to someone else who is going to average scores is Jack Billings. Now, hopefully you guys can see where I'm going with the team. But Jack Billings, he doesn't need to score a lot of goals. He doesn't need to play a lot of wing time. But Hunter out, a few of these other guys out. Brayshaw's out as well. He might get some CBAs or some mid-time, but he's used as that transition role, the guy that will kick inside 50. That's all we want him to do. Similar to what James Harms was doing, but Billings is good for an 80 average, I reckon. And at 243K, that's all we need. Come in, get your 80 average, get to 450K if you can. Offload you, cool, plus a rookie equals a premium. That's all we need. Get through the early buys. I'm very, very happy. Harley Reid comes in next, and he was someone that I was really looking at fading, but seeing him in the first preseason game, I was not impressed. I made it well known during our preseason recap. Not impressed, not happy. Harley Reid, get out of my team. But he looked good in the second one. Was playing midfield, not so much halfback, which I don't know if is his natural role. But when he was around the ball, all we need him is another 80 average. West Coast is going to have a lot of stoppages because they're going to get goals kicked at him. Cool, straight back in the middle, Harley Reid. The fact that Adelaide put a lot of effort into him and he could stand up and actually fight back is a huge thing for me. And I'm very, very happy to chuck him in my team. Now, Alex Sexton takes the last spot on field for me and was taking kickouts. We know we've spoken the live streams and everything like that. Connor Buderick did very, very well in the preseason. Has come in, small defender, he's off the list. Powell's come in, kickouts, cool. Alex Sexton's been playing halfback, was sharing the kickouts, used as the distributor of halfback, looked good. Now, we've got round 0 to see what his scoring's to be like, but he scored a 120 plus in the preseason game. If he can do something similar, fantastic, he's a keeper. If he can score me a 70, that's all I want at 133K. Other people have got him as cool. Yep, he's going to be a keeper all season. Very, very happy. Otherwise, yeah, I'm good with him where he is. Now, my other player is a bit of a 1% pod that no one will have, but I'm very, very happy with. Lachie McNeil. Now, if you look at his game versus the Hawks, the second preseason game, he looked good. There's a lot of money in 159K, and there's a lot of players that I can swap to, like a Kai Loam and a Dempsey, things like that. So there's opportunity for me to be able to do that. I've got McNeil at the moment. He's played 13 games last year. Bevo likes him. And he's that small pressure forward, the guy that can push up the ground. I don't think he got any CBAs, but he definitely was in the midfield at times. He can do that for us. He scored what, 98 or something like that in the second preseason game. I only want a 70. I think that's doable. He scored that 98 with like 15 touches and no goals. So we'll see what his role is with the Dogs. Sad we don't have around 0 games for the Dogs because things would be a lot different, but it is what it is. Harvey Thomas is someone who I've been preaching about all preseason. He's in my team, GWS Academy player. And we know how sneaky GWS and Sydney are with their Academy players. Yes, he was a late pick, but since he got picked, he's played preseason game last week, and you bet he'll be named for round 0. Get him in your teams if you can. 117, 300k DPP player. Looks good, should be good for a 70 average. And he isn't going to be affected because of his role, similar to like a Weir, who we're saying, cool, coming, a few other players are going to come in, they're going to push Weir out. I don't think that's going to happen to Harvey Thomas. If it does, cool. Round 1, take out Thomas, we can put some other players in there. There's opportunities around that price, maybe even a little bit more if McNeil has to get dropped, and then I've got some money free. Now, the midfield, Big J, what are you doing with your midfield? You've made me watch the whole video. 16 minutes in. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. My midfield is very risky, but I'm very, very happy. And I've got a lot of players that don't play the early buys and some guys on the bench that should be some fantastic cover for the people who do play the early buys. I don't mind the team at the moment. I am fading a very highly rated pick. Spoken about him on stream. You'll see what I mean. First player up, LDU. We've spoken a lot about starting risks. LDU is that player for me. Yes, he scored a 32 in the preseason game, but he had 6 free kicks against, 7 clangers, and just was like, cool, yep, I'm just playing preseason, whatever. He did not care. He did the same last year, 150, 150, 100 before he got injured. I'm expecting half-decent things from LDU this year. If he can stay fit, which it looks like he has, the whole preseason has been LDU fit, LDU fit, LDU fit and flying. I'm happy to start him and sideways to a number of different players like a Zach Butters or some other ones who, are going to be around the mark and around the same price, at least by round 3. Next up on my list is someone who does have an early buy, and that's Big Errol Goulden. Now, I have faded on a few other picks just because of the players who I've put in my team. Maybe you disagree. Let me know down in the comments. But Errol Goulden has a fantastic start to the season. I think he's got a 4 or 5 people before his buy and after his buy that he's averaged like 140 on. Similar to a James Jordan, there's a lot of people missing points from that Sydney midfield. Parker, Mills. Who else is on there? Let me know down in the comments. And there's points to be had by Errol Goulden. I reckon he could be the one this year that breaks out and potentially could end up be pushing Bont for that M1 position. We saw him on the weekend. He didn't even get sweaty, and he came out with a 130. It's what we want to see, and that's why he's in my team. Now, here comes the risk. And I know what you're going to say, Big J, what are you doing? But next up on my list is Nick Martin. And I really like the role. Nick Dacos off the halfback for Essendon. It's what Hind was supposed to be and tried to be in the team, but just could never get going. He does what I think he's going to do. He's going to slot straight into my back line, potentially off the bench come the end of the season, where I can swing him between back and midfield. I'll be very, very happy. Next up on my list is Matt Crouch. I know you're going to be complaining about him. The last 2 preseason games, he's done very well, averaged over 100. And the whole preseason, we've heard Matt Crouch is fit. Matt Crouch is fit. He can only play midfield. That's the saving grace for him. He can only play in one position, which guess what? Means he's going to play in that position. It's what I want. I'm not going to keep him all year, but he should be able to make me that 100K pretty quickly. I reckon that's what we're looking for. If he comes in and averages 110 plus, like 490K for a 110, I'm very, very happy. And he's got a lot of games at Adelaide Oval where he trains, where he practices, where he scores very well. And another player who's got a lot of games at Adelaide Oval that's had a pretty good preseason is big Ollie Wines, who's in my team. Ollie Wines can only play one position. They've tried him in the defense. Maybe not. They've tried him in the forward line. Hasn't worked out. He's a bull in the midfield. That's where they want him. The club's come out and said, cool, we're going to try and play him in the midfield. Try and get him back to Brownlow best. You can average a 1.5, 1.10. We're very, very happy. Butters is going to move out for him. Rosie's going to move out for him. All these other players are going to move out for him. If he's fit, he's very, very good. I think Port Adelaide play, 8 of their 9 first games at Adelaide Oval? He averages like a 120 plus there. It's something not to put your high hat on, but it's what I'm looking for at the moment. Now, someone who I've been very, very happy with at the moment is Sam Berry. And I pray to God, please be picked in round 1. He's been doing very well through the middle, through on the forward line, and just dominating. And I think one of the things with Adelaide is they almost got to finals, yes, but they weren't really competitive. And there's a lot of things that are changing in that club. Rankin's playing a bit more mid-time. They're moving some players around. Laird's going to more forward. Dawson's playing a little bit more back. They're making space for these young up-and-comers to come through. I think Berry's good for like an 80-plus average. And I really like him over a McKercher at the moment. Depending on what North's backline looks like, 100% I can trade back to McKercher. Like round 3, Berry scored 2 20s. Cool, I'll take the loss. McKercher in. More than happy. Anyone else who's around there in that midline that I don't have, more than happy. But at the moment, Berry looks very, very good. Let me know down in the comments. Hey, George, watch my video. How good's Berry? The next up on my list is... No, that's not right. Can't spell his name. I was going to put Riley Bonner in. I can't afford him. It's a bit sad, but we can't go too deep in the midfield. I made a team before that had no rookies on field in the midfield. And I was like, doesn't really work. Riley Sanders been dominating preseason games. First preseason game against the Hawks looks fantastic. Second one took a little bit longer to get into, but all we need is a 70 to 80 average. We can get that out of a 184K player. We're laughing. Henry Hustwaite is the next one to come up in my team as well. Probably interchange a little bit with Sanders depending on what's happening. There is some talk of Day coming in that might affect some things, but we'll wait and see for that. I have Darcy Wilson in the midfield and Jai Clark to finish off the team. It's not too bad. I'm not too worried, but that is my team for round 0. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what you think. Am I crazy? I want to hear your thoughts. If I have a look at the team, potentially if Coleman is a keeper and Fish is a keeper, I have 13 premiums. I'm very, very happy. Crouch and Wines, obviously, I'm not going to keep all season, but they should make me some quick money and potentially some quick cash alongside a Berry as well. Guys, that's my team for round 0. Hopefully you've been enjoying all the content. Let me know down in the comments what you reckon. Like, share, subscribe. Jump on our AFL tipping video. The link will be down in the description below. Jump on our league as well. We've got 3 amazing prizes that you guys can win. 10 days to go. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the content. Joe and I will be pumping it out all the way to next Thursday because here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so you guys don't have to.